So Moses, can we not just share those links with you because you've got that links and you just play it with sound? Or is that a
Yeah, I
problem?
think that's what I was gonna suggest as well. How about you play
One
it from
person
your
do it.
side? Yes.
Otherwise, it's gonna be
I,
me.
I don't know if I don't have with me. Mashat said you guys you should have your links. So you playing it from your end.
Yeah, they must bring another pen.
So you just mute. Let's connect.
Yeah.
And you speak. Put it off. When I speak now.
Recording stopped.
Oh, Sanisha, earlier I wanted to mention that since we couldn't secure a webinar slot, we're having a meeting, everybody's on board, so we don't have like special panelists linked.
Say that again.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that we couldn't secure a webinar and we were fully booked, so we managed to secure a meeting. So everybody's on board.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So when do I do I start in 5 minutes?
Yeah, it all depends from you if you want to start after how many minutes. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can decide.
Nisha, you're on mute.
I am. Just give me 1 minute. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the National Science Week. Today, I will be your facilitator. I'm from the Technology Innovation Agency, and I would really like to welcome my esteemed
Recording in progress.
So just to set the scene in terms of TIA, we're really looking at celebrating and showcasing our top women entrepreneurs and innovators that were with us for the past decade. TIA really maintains its mandate by playing a critical role within the national system of innovation and really focusing on the South African tech entrepreneurship ecosystem. TIA, as the key institutional intervention, we really look to bridge the innovation chasm between research and development and innovation from higher education institutes, science councils, public entities, and the private sector by providing financial and non-financial support required to develop IP and research outputs. These really include innovations from a variety of different levels. Furthermore, TIA supports our grassroots innovators that really introduces effective ways for the social ills and public service delivery challenges experienced and understood by all communities. It is without any doubt that a sound female-led tech entrepreneurship business will really inspire the innovation ecosystem and can deliver and transform our country to have multiple effects in the terms of economic growth, job creation, and really have social impact to all of its people. As many countries have invested in pioneering health tech sectors and female tech sectors, we're really looking to multiply that effect through our economic growth and creation of new industries, really looking at the knowledge-based economy brought about by the fourth industrial revolution. Today, we're looking at our pertinent female innovators and investors, where we've created, through our international partnerships and local partnerships, really an investor appeal for them to attain a soft landing opportunity in the South African ecosystem, as well as the international landscape and on the continent as a whole. However, much efforts are made to support this growth. It's really aimed at improving the availability and the viability for them to raise capital and take their technologies to the market. TI has a decade long of doing this through its Enterprise Development and Innovation Skills Development Unit. Today, we really will see a number of these innovations coming through that have been led by a number of local and global partners. I'd like to just give you a warm welcome to our esteemed panel for today. First, I'd like to welcome Pietro De Wet, who really is from UNIDO and has been part of the ecosystem for a while. Next, it will be Lucy Moteka, who's been our TIA program manager, really focusing on the accelerator-based programs. We also have Dr. Joanne Pasmo, who's from UCT. She'll be joining us today, as well as Makundi from the Swiss Venture Leader Program, and Sandiswa, who is part of the AH Africa program. So I would just like to say a warm welcome to all of you for today. And I'm going to now just give a brief introduction into Pietro De Wet, who will be our first speaker for today. So like I said, Pietro is from UNIDO. She's a gender-based expert, really focusing on the Global Cleantech Innovation Program since inception in South Africa in 2011. She's played a critical role in working with the Technology Innovation Agency, as well as been a partner with South Africa and UNIDO, both locally and globally. So I'm going to hand over to Pietro, who's going to take us through her presentation for today. Thank you, Pietro, over to you.
Thank you, Sanisha. Thanks very much for the introduction and also for the opportunity for UNIDO to participate in this panel. I would like to just first get to my presentation. Otherwise, I will just talk you through it and then we can share that afterwards, since I have a problem at the moment. Okay, so let me start by, I'm going to keep my inputs practical. I will be posting a number of links in the chat for those of you who want more information. Let me start with a brief introduction to UNIDO, and then I'll touch on our approach to gender mainstreaming and gender equity, and then I'll end with a link to, or with some information on one of our projects, which fits in very nicely with the theme of this event today. So UNIDO is the specialized agency of the UN, and it specifically focuses on inclusive and sustainable industrial development. We're very closely linked to SDG number 9, which is building resilient infrastructure, promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and fostering innovation. But of course, we support all of the other SDGs as well, and especially number 5, which is a cross-cutting one, the gender one. We currently have around 10 projects running in South Africa. They're all being implemented jointly with partners. And it's partners like the Technology Innovation Agency, like TIA, as Sanisha has spoken about. And the more we work together, actually, the more linkages we discover. And yeah, it's all, I think, to the benefit of the country also, and of course to UNIDO. And we also work closely with the NCPC, National Cleaner Production Center of South Africa. They also implement various projects of UNIDO. These projects are all aligned with the national priorities of the country and also with the priorities of the funders. Before I start with specifically what our approach is and how we go about gender mainstreaming at UNIDO, perhaps it would be a good thing to just touch again on two important definitions, and these are both from the UN Women's Gender Equality Glossary of 2012. So gender mainstreaming is defined as the process of assessing and addressing the implications for women and men of any planned action, including legislation, policies, or programs in any area and at all levels. And the ultimate goal is to achieve gender equality. Gender equality, again, refers to equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities for men and women and boys and girls. It does not mean that men and women will become the same, but that their rights, responsibilities, and opportunities will not depend on whether they're born male or female. And a very important point to make here is that gender mainstreaming is not a women's issue. It is both men and women have a key role to play in order to achieve gender equality. I'm not going to go into the business case for gender mainstreaming because that's very well supported and documented in various reports and research documents by organizations such as McKinsey and Ernst & Young and others. But it is summarized as follows by the UNIDO DG, by Lee Yong. He says that women's empowerment is not only a matter of human rights, but also a precondition for sustainable and economic growth, which are drivers of poverty reduction and social integration. The second part of the quote, when women and men are more equal, economies grow faster, people are lifted out of poverty, and the overall well-being of societies is enhanced. Now, that is even more important at the moment in the aftermath of, against the backdrop of COVID-19. So in terms of UNIDO's approach to gender equality, gender mainstreaming, it's guided by a vision, which is to enable women and men to equally lead, participate in, and benefit from integrated and sustainable industrial development. So that feeds through at head office and through all of our projects also. But we all know that a vision doesn't automatically translate into action. So various structures and measures are in place to ensure that we move towards this goal. This includes a gender mainstreaming steering board, which is headed by the DG, and its members include the directors of all of the departments to make sure that it really permeates through all of the whole of the organization. Then there are gender focal points at head office in all of the departments, but also in the various country offices, where I also represent, I'm one of the focal points, so I am the focal point in South Africa. And then all staff have to undergo compulsory gender mainstreaming training, and I'll send you the link, or I'll post the link to that also in the chat afterwards. And they're held co-responsible for implementation of the gender mainstreaming strategy and policy. There are key guiding documents. I've just referred to the policy and strategy on gender equality and the empowerment of women, which is regularly updated as we progress. And recently, a guide was published about 3 weeks ago on gender mainstreaming in the project cycle. So it outlines specific requirements at each step of a project, from design right through to the measurement and evaluation part of it. And there's a continuous loop of knowledge sharing and improvement. For this, I'll also post a link for those who are interested. It also includes a gender marker, which indicates whether a project is at the level, the intention in terms of gender mainstreaming is just to do no harm, which is usually a data collection focus, right through to where a project is specifically aimed at women and the promotion and enhancement of women's role in the economy. I said that I would just give you one example of a project, the UNIDO project that links in well with the theme, and that is the Global Cleantech Innovation Program. Sanisha also referred to that. It also links through to one of the reasons why I selected this one is also because Sandiswa is one of the poster children of the Global Cleantech Innovation Program. And of course, afterwards, she went through a number of other TIA interventions also, or she participated in those. The GCIP is a competition-based business accelerator program, and it's specifically aimed at cleantech entrepreneurs. It helps them develop profitable cleantech businesses, and it helps to get them into the market through an intensive international training and mentoring process, ongoing showcasing and investor matchmaking opportunities, and it has a special focus on women and the youth. For instance, special awards for women, special mentoring programs for women, etc. In terms of the history, the first phase of this project ran from 2014 to 2017. TIA was the implementing agency. During that period, 102 entrepreneurs directly benefited through the program. We started off in terms of gender mainstreaming with only one woman in the first year out of 23 semi-finalists. That increased to 32% in 2017, which made us a joint global leader in terms of GCIP gender mainstreaming programs, which is actually a scary thing, because if 32% makes you the global leader, then it really shows, it highlights that there's still a lot of work to be done in order to get to a point of gender equality. Now, the limited participation of women in STEM fields obviously has an influence on that, on the number of women in the sector, but also that went through our program. Our analyses afterwards identified the typical problems that women face in the technical sector. The fact that the sector is still male-dominated, there's a lack of funding, access to markets and networks, there's a lack of technical and business skills, and there's a lack of gender-responsive government policies, although the policy framework in South Africa is there, but the implementation is lagging. So the first phase has been completely integrated into TIA and is being offered as a program, one of their programs. We're currently in the final stages of the development of a phase 2, which will address these gaps that have been identified and really take the program, the entrepreneurs, through to the global market, those of them who are focusing on globalization and to commercialization. TIA will again be the executing agency with the IDC, which will be developing a special innovative funding mechanism for early stage startups. And again, there will be special measures to support female entrepreneurs. Those are being developed jointly with TIA. And then before I want to close, and it's always I can never resist using the following quote from the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. It was from a speech on the celebration of International Women's Day in 2020, the 8th of March. He said, "Just as slavery and colonialism were a stain on previous centuries, women's inequality should shame us all in the 21st century, because it's not only unacceptable, it's stupid." So let's all do our part to ensure that women's equality in our lifetime. Thanks, Anisha.
Thank you so much, Pietro. As you can hear, I mean, we've come a long way, and I think nothing better yet than to have a young innovator and entrepreneur who will be speaking next to us, who is Sandiswa from AET Africa, from the Eastern Cape. And I think she's testimony to the GSIP program, as well as her take on being a young female entrepreneur that has won in 2016. She was actually the best led young entrepreneur for GSIP. And I think if you look back at where she is today, she will share with us her journey from inception as a young female entrepreneur right through to commercialization, where she actually has her own factory set up in the Eastern Cape in a community. She has done an outstanding job really looking at women development in her community, but I'm going to leave her to share her insights with us. Sandiswa, over to you.
Thank you, Senisha, and good afternoon to other panelists, and good afternoon to everyone. I feel privileged to be here and to share my journey and experience with everyone who's attending the session. It's been quite a long journey, exciting. I've developed as a person in terms of, I know I've always been resilient, but right now, when you go through the innovation journey and commercialization, you learn to be more resilient. My journey within the innovation space started as early as late 2014. As someone who was experiencing the pain of trying to manage the cost of electricity, switching your geyser on and off. So that's how I got into the space, because I was really frustrated in terms of me needing to have access to hot water, but at the same time not willing to pay the exorbitant cost. So everyone who's had experience of switching the geyser on and off knows the pain of having to wait for an hour to 2 hours to have access to that hot water. So for me, it started out of that complaint. I worked with my partners in terms of, I developed the concept, got my partners to assist me in terms of the technical design. But as someone who's always been curious, I told myself my journey cannot just end with me just be comfortable in terms of writing the concept, get it done and hand over. So I decided to be hands-on. And while we were in that process, we applied for funding, several competitions, and I then got accepted into the GSEP program in 2016. It was one of those eye-openers because when you develop that idea, you think you've got everything sorted, you've got all the questions answered. So went through the Business Accelerator program for 6 months. It was a serious one. We were really pushed beyond just having the comfort of saying, I've got an innovative idea that can be commercialized. And one of the things that I can say is, it's nice to read about innovation in the books. You get to see the innovation cycle. You believe that it's going to be a linear approach. You set your time frames and decide what you want to do. But the reality on the ground is something else. Because when I started with the hotspot, as I say, I was feeling that pain. So I thought, okay, I know everyone, I've done my research. I know people who've also experiencing this pain. So if now the hotspot innovation is here and then it gives the consumers access to that hot water in 30 minutes, everyone should be jumping into that concept because we're providing a solution to say 50 liters of hot water in 30 minutes. You save about 27% of your electricity. We've got the trademark, we've got the patent. Now, and we know we are solving a problem, let's get to the market. So we went to the market. Again, it's a different ball game altogether because having access to the market is something else. To set up the factory and look for the machinery that talks to the kind of innovation, it's another process on its own. So one of the things that I learned in the process is the fact that you have to be the jack of all trades and you need to have that entrepreneurship spirit because innovation, it's something else to come up with a product and be innovative, but to commercialize it, you require another set of skills. So I went through that process thanks to the support I got from TIA and the other partners that assisted us in terms of the research and development journey because innovation, it's very expensive, especially if you plan to manufacture the product yourself. The cost of R&D, the cost of setting up that factory, and honestly, you can't do it alone. I know in some businesses, you can start a business with little capital, but in the case of manufacturing, and we made a decision early at the beginning to say, we don't want to just have an innovation, commercialize it in terms of licensing it to someone else to run the manufacturing, because we wanted to be in the manufacturing space and have someone who had the background in manufacturing and the passion wanted to be in that space, because for a very long time, manufacturing has been seen as a male-dominated space. So I told myself that I used to see my mom going to the factory and working there as just a factory worker, but I want to own that factory and be an owner and be involved in the production process of the hotspot. So in 2017, through the partnerships and having great stakeholders like TIA and DST, we've managed to get attention of IGC because, honestly speaking, one of the things that I got out of the GSEP program, we got a lot of PR in terms of publicity. People were already aware about the hotspot and kind of assisted me to build AET and my own profile. So to be approached by IGC to say, we've seen your innovation, we see that you're a young woman who wants to get into the manufacturing space. We are here to help you to commercialize your product. I jumped into that offer and within 3 months, because of the level of detail in terms of the business plan and the work that we did as part of the GSEP program, it was easy for us to get everything sorted within 3 months for IDC to release the funds and say, go and set up your factory and start commercializing your product. So we did that. We launched the factory in 2018. We've been selling into the market. It's still a long journey. There's still a lot of things that are happening in the background in terms of improving market access. But the reality of the situation is that it is doable. What is key is for us, when we go through these programs, you take each and every program that you attend, there's something that you learn out of that. The networks we get, sometimes not just about the money that you receive after the end of the program, but to be continuously part of the network system and attending the sessions and take your chances. Because I remember when we went with Tia again through Senisha and this program, and we became part of the Swiss venture. I mean, to just go to Switzerland and see the level of innovation, the kind of support, the ecosystem that exists there, you tend to benchmark yourself, and it allows you to dream bigger, to say, yes, I might be a small factory in a small industrial park in Timbaza, Eastern Cape, but there's nothing that's stopping me to become an international brand, or even set up my factory today with a vision that it's going to be an international company. So to be part of this program, yes, they are lengthy. Sometimes there's a lot of administrative work. Sometimes you drag yourself when you have to fill in the forms, but I will safely say it is worth it. There are challenges, but at the same time, there are really, really great opportunities. One must just be willing to continuously learning and be confident that if you believe in your own idea, look for partners, strategic partners, stakeholders that believe or share your vision, and then they can support you to take your idea forward. Today, as AET, we've got our factory. We had an impact to more than 20 women in the innovation and science space. We opened our factory for factory visits and tours from local schools. We even managed to improve on our value chain in terms of even opening now a textile division that employs 23 local women in the textile space. So through a small innovation, then we can develop a value chain. Thank you very much, Senisha.
Thank you so much, Sandiswa. It's so nice to hear your journey, and I think we've been with you for a number of years. So just a big well done to you, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions and answers for you at a later stage. So thank you for that. I must say that all of this cannot be done without our local partners. And Tia has been the partner. I think there's someone that has stood the testimony and the time behind a lot of our young innovators and entrepreneurs. And my next speaker is Lucy Moteka. I must say, she's been totally instrumental in playing a strong mentorship role since inception to date on all of the young female and young entrepreneurs that have gone through these programs. She's really developed both local and international partnerships. She's been responsible for our skills development initiatives with the Energy and Water SETA and the MICT SETA, and has also played a strong role with other SETAs. She's really passionate about teaching self-discovery and also passionate about emotional intelligence. She loves to stimulate a culture of innovation and entrepreneurial thinking, and I think nothing could be said without Lucy in terms of her industry expertise as well as her public sector knowledge. She's been with both industry and public sector for the past 20 years, and I think just over 10 years within the National System of Innovation. So I'd really like to hand over to Lucy, who will really share with us today some of the impact, looking at the impact within the sector, and also looking at how within our topic of focusing on women in entrepreneurship and innovation, how the programs have transformed itself over the past 10 years, where we primarily started off with primarily men, older men in the programs, and now we've transformed the programs into more female-led SMMEs that are coming through the technology and innovation sector. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to Ms. Moteka.
And Lucy, you muted.
Sis Luz, we still can't hear you. Just check your volume. Maybe it's your volume.
Okay, guys, can you hear Lucy now? Can you hear me now?
No.
Temperature? Okay, then you must mute that because it's going to make an echo. Go. I had to switch places. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot, Tanisha, for the intro. And thanks to everyone that has been able to join, all the innovators and all the viewers across, and welcome. I'd like to maybe start off by saying following up from the innovator that have just spoken, Sandiswa, the story is better told by the innovator themselves. But I'd like to maybe take the opportunity to share some of the accelerator programs that TIA is involved in and how they have evolved over the past like 6 to 7 years that we've been supporting innovators. And maybe before I start by just saying, isn't it true that you empower a woman, you empower the community? I think Sandiswa's story was a brilliant story to start off with. I'd like to focus on the accelerator program. So TIA, within the Enterprise Development Unit and Innovation Skills Development Unit, we have 4 accelerator programs that we're running. And I'm just going to share with you how they've evolved in supporting women. Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've got 4 innovator accelerator programs. So the first one that I would like to start off with, I will share also some of the partners that we are collaborating with in supporting the innovators. The first one is the Gauteng Accelerator Program, which is an accelerator program that is a partnership. There's some noise from, I think, Jacqueline's side, so if you can please mute. The Gauteng Accelerator Program is a partnership between TIA and the Innovation Hub. And from that program, since its inception, I think we started off supporting, in total up to date, we've supported about just over 90 innovators. Now, when the program started, the number of women that were coming through the program, we had about 10% of women innovators that were coming through. And over the years, I think in 2018, 2019, we had I think a breakthrough year where we had 61% of the innovators that came through that were women innovators. So as you can see, just from those numbers, starting from 10% over 3 years, we were able to get 60% come through. I speak today, in 2020-21, we had 50% women innovators that came through the GAP program. And maybe just to name 1 or 2 of the innovators that have shown impact, that have come through the program, we have a woman innovator or in partnership with some of the other male innovators. We have Busi Moloi on a company called Sawubona, and they extracting components from a mushroom that are used in the agricultural industry and in the cosmetic industry as well. And they have managed to create great impact and great vibes
signing off a whole lot of collaboration agreements, and they're doing extremely well. So Busi was part of the GAP program, but she was also part of the Leaders in Innovation Fellowship program. So that's one example of one innovator that has a woman innovator within the team, and that has done very well. The second accelerator program that TIA is supporting is the Swiss program. So the Swiss program is a joint venture between TIA, South Africa, the Swiss Embassy, and University of Basel. Sandiswa has alluded to that as well. So she has been part of that program as well. And that program has also capacitated over 100 innovators from inception since 2014. And if I can say, that program started off having 4% women in the program in 2014. As we speak today, we're sitting at about, in the last cohort that we had, we're sitting at 40% of women innovators that came through that program. And maybe just to list one or two of the great innovators that came through, I want to make reference to an innovator that has made such good inroads into the market. And her name is Portia M. Now, Portia M was also part of the Gauteng Accelerator program, but she's also been part of the Swiss program. Now, Portia M makes cosmetic products from Murula, and that is like an indigenous South African fruit, as we know. And it's a brilliant product that she has. She already has products available in the market, and women, if you can support our own innovators, she already has products in Clicks, she has products in Discam, she has products in the Pick and Pace, and that is also one of the impacts that TIA is very proud to show off, that we have an innovator woman that we have supported that is doing great in the market. And I am certain by now she's probably reaching a turnover of just over probably 2 to 3 million rand a month. So that's one great impact that I can talk to on the Swiss program or in the GIP program. The other program, I'm not going to talk a lot about that because Petro has already spoken to it, is the GCIP program, which is in partnership with UNIDO. That has also supported innovators, over 100 innovators, and it also started with 4% of women. Petro has alluded to that of the 23 at inception in 2014, they only had one woman innovator. And that was like 4% of the total of innovators that came through in that year. Currently, as we speak, we're sitting at 40%. So the cohort that came through in 2020, 2021, we had 40% of women that came through that program. The last accelerator program that we have within TIA that supports innovators is the Leaders in Innovation Fellowship program. And that is an accelerator program that is in partnership, that is a DSI partnership implemented by TIA, and it's in partnership with the UK Newton Fund, and the other partner is the Royal Academy of Engineering in the UK. That program has also supported 95 innovators since inception, since 2014. And it started off also with 7% women with the first cohort. And I must say, I must refer specifically to this one as well, that in 2019, we had 71%, the cohort that went to the UK for the business training, we had 71% of them being women. We currently are now sitting with the last cohort, we had 40% women. So as you can see with the accelerator programs that I have alluded to, I'm not going to give examples there. I could list a few. I could list Dr. Petro, but we will obviously look at the clip later when we do the exhibition. She also, her product is also out in the market, and it's a product that teaches young kids in primary school to play and learn maths at the same time. So it teaches them, improves their cognitive thinking. And then we also have one of our winners, Dr. Joanne Pasmo, who is also in the panel, and she will also tell the story better herself. And we've got a whole lot of other women innovators that we have supported through this program. So as you can see, having gone through all the 4 accelerator programs within TIA, TIA is definitely making a deliberate decision to support women innovators. And maybe if I can just close off by saying, because like I said when I started, the story is better told by the innovator themselves. So it is very interesting, it is very exciting to walk the journey with them, but it is very important for them to tell their stories and to show the impact. As the saying said, there is a saying that says, creativity is about thinking new ideas, but innovation is about doing new things. So it is in the doing that we see the impact. It is in the doing that we can make the impact. And I'd like to stop there, and I would like to take the opportunity as well to say, as TIA, we continue to support the women innovators, and I wish all the innovators well. And I'd like also to take this opportunity, being a Women's Month, to wish all the women well. And thank you very much. Thanks, Senisha. I will stop there.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words, Lucy. I think when COVID is gone and we can get together with all the females, that would be really nice. I must say, our international partners have really taken us very serious in 2019 when we said to them, is it possible to do a full cohort of females going to the UK? And they said, you know what, guys, if you can pull that off, go for it. And like Lucy said, we had 70% females, which was quite impressive for that program in that particular year. I must say, I'm very happy to announce the next panelist, which is Dr. Joanne Passmore from UCT. Dr. Joanne has been absolutely amazing in the program. She's literally won, I think, runner-up in the program with all the global countries on board for the Leaders in Innovation Fellowship Program. And she's come up with something that really focuses on women and the impact it would have on their lives from being young. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to Dr. Joanne Passmore, who's going to take us through her innovation, which is known as GIFT. So over to you, Dr. Joanne.
So thank you so much, Senisha and Lucy, for the invitation to be here today. And to echo Lucy, I'm wishing everyone on the call all the success as we celebrate Women's Month. And just to echo my previous colleague, to say, women just do it. And, you know, those wise words from Lucy about innovation being about doing, implementing. So Lucy mentioned that TIA has been part of, or enabled and been a part of Leaders in Innovation Fellowship for the last 7 years. And I'm one of the grateful recipients of training through this Leaders in Innovation Fellowship with 10 other colleagues from around the country. And we've grown into a very close family during the crazy COVID lockdown, and we didn't get to travel to the UK, but we had such a packed agenda. I come from an academic background. I do laboratory research focused on HIV prevention and HIV risk. I've spent the last 10 years leading young postgraduate students through their training in understanding risk factors that increase women in South Africa's risk for HIV. And what motivated us to go down the route of developing the test, the genital inflammation test, was the powerlessness to be able to characterize all these risk factors, and a lot of them are treatable, but not being able to translate that into a way that would make it a difference for women in South Africa. So when I went into this 5 years ago and started dreaming how we could make a difference, I set myself a challenge of imagining a world where women have better access to reproductive health care and HIV risk was lowered or eradicated. And in South Africa, but lots of other regions in Africa, the major driver of HIV risk in women are undiagnosed sexually transmitted infections. And compounding this is that more than 80% of women with a sexually transmitted infection won't know she has an infection because she doesn't have symptoms. So it's like a silent infection, but that does contribute significantly to her HIV risk. So through a partnership between myself and Lindy Masson, who I work with at the University of Cape Town, we came up with biomarkers, inflammation biomarkers that we could put into a lateral flow device, like a pregnancy test or an HIV test format. And you can see the picture of it behind me. Cheap, point of care, a little device that could cheaply allow women to understand whether they had a sexually transmitted infection or not. It could be a routine screen they did every time they go to a family planning clinic. And in that way, it would accurately identify women who currently aren't getting access to healthcare. So we always intended GIFT, the genital inflammation test, to be low cost. It's intended as a triage tool. So it has an accuracy of 82% for detecting the presence of a sexually transmitted infection. And the vision and the impact we're trying to drive through the program is that the GIFT device will significantly improve case findings for conditions that are known to increase HIV risk. Sorry. So GIFT speaks to SDG 3, which is good health and well-being. And currently, as we've entered the Leaders in Innovation Fellowship, the timing for my journey has been absolutely amazing. We have our first working prototype, which we received in February of the GIFT device, and we're currently doing lab validations of that. And during this year, we've competed and been awarded major funding through the European Union to field test the GIFT device in South Africa, as well as in our neighboring country, Zimbabwe, as well as Madagascar. And our vision for GIFT is to make it available, as I said, at every reproductive health clinic nationally, and to be offered to women when they collect their hormone contraceptives in the same way they'd be offered a pregnancy test and an HIV test. So GIFT is, I've battled during my journey through this year to understand how to position the genital inflammation test in my mind as a pro-profit innovation. And I've come to have a very deep understanding and respect for the fact that it will and is always going to be a social innovation. And where we've come from in our journey to develop GIFT, public health impact has always been our core goal. So I just can't speak highly enough about the training that I have received through the Leaders in Innovation program this year in key things that have made such an enormous difference in my journey: leadership training, management training, negotiation skills training, mindfulness, team management, how to pitch your idea to investors, coming up with a business plan. These have been amazing opportunities. So yeah, I'm extremely grateful that the doors that THER's opened through this program. And I just really take my hat off to Lucy and the THER team for their commitment to expand the number of female entrepreneurs through all of these accelerators. Because I do think, and it's been echoed in previous talks, is just to have the confidence to do this and to make the difference. It goes a long way, and these kinds of accelerators and leadership training really, really help to bring to the forefront those characteristics that maybe some younger innovators are struggling with. So thank you very much again, Sanisha, for the opportunity. And I'll stop there.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Joanne. And you know, it's so amazing when you speak about it. We've had quite a journey with a lot of innovators coming onto these programs. And when you take an innovator and you try and turn them into an entrepreneur, it becomes that much difficult. And over the past few years, I've really seen the growth and the development. And you really find they are really good innovators. They can multitask and they can do both. And I must say, it goes out to all the women out there that have come through the program, because they found it much easier to come into the space of getting the business right, getting the market access right, and really being able to create their own network of individuals, both locally and internationally. So thank you to you. I think my next speaker for the program today is Mukundi Lambadi. She's from Ambani, Africa. She's been quite inspirational. She's from Limpopo. I must say the National Science Week is actually taking place in Limpopo this year with Univen, and the partners are the HSRC together with UNISA, TIA, and it's quite amazing. I think, Mukundi, they may pull you into a session tomorrow, so just be prepared in the community engagements in Limpopo. So without further ado, Mukundi has really come a long way. She's developed an AR app, which really is an augmented app which speaks to developing other languages. I'm going to hand over to Mukundi to take us through her innovation and how she's come up with the innovation, really looking at being in a community in Limpopo. What are some of the challenges young people face? How do they deal with it? And without any knowledge from their community, how could she use her innovation to really, really set the community on another level? So without anything else to say, Mukundi, thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to hand over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone can see my screen. So firstly, awesome. Okay, so firstly, I'm very excited to be amongst such incredible women. And I think just like my previous colleagues, I'm wishing everyone the best all the time, but particularly this Women's Month. So as mentioned, my name is Mukundi and I'm from a very young startup called Ambani Africa. So I'll just talk a little bit about myself and my background, and I'll talk a little bit about the company and then my experience with TIA. So as mentioned, I'm from Thohoyandou. I live in Thohoyandou, and now that we all work online, I'm grateful that I can work in Thohoyandou as well, or work straight from home. I initially studied media and then made the transition into creative technology, and this is really where Ambani Africa was born. So the company is an edtech company. We're in the educational technology space. And really, we're all about how can we make early learning, particularly, how can we make that more accessible and how can we make it more engaging? And one of the areas where we've initially decided to focus is on African languages and language learning. And it's really twofold. So in one instance, you'll find that there just aren't a lot of resources for learning African languages. So they're generally digitally underrepresented. So you'll find that there are learners who want to learn an African language and who are learning it in school, but don't have resources for learning that, or don't have digital resources. On the other hand, you'd find that there are learners who speak an African language at home. So you come from a household where you speak Tshivenda in the household. You get to school, you're being taught in English. So you can imagine trying to learn a new language, to be able to learn through that language at the same time is a very difficult task. So these are the two sort of spaces or areas where we work in. And it's something that I found as a challenge in my own community. And it was something that was a challenge for me as well. And so the technology part was really just what is the most effective way in which we can solve this problem. So we have several different products that we're working on, and I'll just take us through them a bit. So as mentioned, we do work in the augmented reality space. So an important aspect for us is of course, how the technology can support what needs to be learned, but also how can learning be engaging, how can learning be interesting, how can it be fun, and how can something really be retained. You find the stats in SA will say something like 70% of grade 4 learners can't read for meaning by the time they're in grade 4. 50% can't do basic calculations by the time they're in grade 5. And why we focus on the foundation phase as well is that you find that if you are behind by the time you're in grade 3, you're not likely to catch up. So it's very difficult to catch up after that. And so we've got these augmented reality books and this augmented reality app that comes in different languages. And so once you have the books, you're able to use the app to learn in the language of your choice, and you're able to see the different content come alive on the application. We also have okay, let me just stop sharing. We also have a app that allows you to be able to learn African languages. And this is just a free app, and it's a gaming app for young learners. And this is really just a fun platform where anyone can log in and be able to learn African languages. I'm just going to share my screen again. And the other project that we do or are working on is also a platform for schools as well. So also, how do we bring technology into schools and allow them to be able to use some of the augmented reality and the gaming aspects that we're doing in order to make education across the board more engaging. We also worked on something we called the WhatsApp project, and this was really during lockdown, something that we piloted to say there are learners who aren't able to go to school. Well, how can we develop something that allows them to engage even through something as simple as WhatsApp? And this was specifically for grade 1 learners who needed to learn reading strategies. So it was all about how we use stories in order to do that. I hope you can hear. I'm just going to play a little clip of some of our stuff, and then I'll go.
Sanibonani bantwana. Uma ngithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Uma ngithi sawubona wena uthi yebo, sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Ungubani? Ngingizuri. Uphumaphi? Esikoleni. Uma ngithi unjani? Uthi ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Uma ngithi unjani? Uthi ngiyaphila. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Sawubona yebo. Unjani? Ngiyaphila. Ungubani? Ngiyushoni. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle. Uma ngithi sawubona, wena uthi yebo. Sawubona yebo, sawubona yebo. Uma ngithi hamba kahle, wena uthi sala kahle. Hamba kahle, sala kahle.
Didingwe, inkomo,
Tharu, amehlo,
kunye kunye ilanga elilodwa, kubili kubili amafu amabili, kuthathu kuthathu zihlahla ezintathu, kune kune amagajamane, kuhlanu kuhlanu.
So we were part of the, or I was part of the Swiss SA Venture Leaders Program last year with TIA. And although we unfortunately didn't get to go to Switzerland, we did still get quite, I think, a lot of input and insights that have really helped me and my business to be able to move to this stage. And one of those was definitely business development, and that was around thinking about product development, being able to pitch our businesses and our products to potential investors and potential users, and then also thinking about product market fit and how to really be able to engage with potential users and build something even as an MVP or as a prototype that actually speaks to the problem and is able to solve it. Mentorship, of course. We were also lucky enough to get a small grant. And our focus at the moment is really on commercialization and being able to take our product fully to market. I think an important aspect that was also touched on is networking. So oftentimes I was often intimidated to be able to join such programs. I think things like imposter syndrome always come into play, where you feel like you shouldn't be in the spaces, or your idea is not good enough, or you're not, smart enough. I think especially in technology, where it's so often, and in gaming, where it's so often dominated by men, you often feel like for me to play in that space, I really have to have the perfect idea and the perfect product. And so being in that space, being able to network with other women innovators and other women entrepreneurs, I think was quite validating, a validating experience for me. And I think as Sandiso and Joanne mentioned, that oftentimes we think of technology for technology's sake, but it's really what are the problems that you're experiencing, that you're seeing for yourself, that you're seeing in your own community, and what are the ways in which technology can solve that. And if as young women we're not getting involved, then our problems are not being addressed, or the problems that we're experiencing are not necessarily being solved. And so being part of the program, outside of all of the business development and all of the other maybe more tangible results, I think it was also great as a personal development process for me, in order to grow not only as someone who's thinking of ideas as an innovator, but to also grow as a confident entrepreneur who's building something that is sustainable, and that's something that really solves an existing problem. I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Makundi. I think, you know, for both you and Joanne, it's been quite a journey for you, because we always said that the most benefit you derive from any of these international programs is just landing your, you know, leaving South Africa and going to another country where you really get to meet international partners, mentors, investors, and they really just assist you. But with the two of you being in the program, really clearly demonstrates that even during the online program, even during the webinar, you guys were able to land yourselves in the programs, doing it very well. And I must say, you have always been there to support us, and the mentorship is absolutely amazing that you both were able to give, not only to one another as your peers, but also going forward, looking at how do we support the youth. I'd like to ask you guys, as you can see, if you can post your questions and answers for the panel into the chat box, or you can raise your hand. And I see we do have our very young new innovators in the room. Jacqueline, I'm going to hand over to you. Hi, everyone.
Okay. Hi, Sunisha.
Hi, Jackie. We're so glad that you could make it. I see you're really doing the right thing. You're with your young innovators and entrepreneurs there in the room.
Yeah, they are some of our female expo learners. So they're just finishing off some of the expo projects, which are due tomorrow. And then we thought we will just quickly listen to what some of the other ladies are doing with their innovation.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Do they have any questions for any of the ladies?
Any questions, or what do you think about the app? I must say, with all the innovation that was now presented, it's awesome. And also the last one with the app, I normally ask them, what do you say this? I think I'm going to download the app for myself. But it's so awesome. I can't express how important it is for somebody to hear education in their own language. And sometimes if I want to express, or if they want to express something, I say use your own language and we'll get somebody to interpret. So awesome for that. What do you guys have a question or something about the app that you saw?
I only think that it's awesome.
So to give you feeling.
I only think that the app is awesome.
The app
Anybody else?
Oh, thank you so much.
And all the ladies, all the future innovators, as Anisha and Christoph here, Lucy Rim. This is going to be some of the ladies that's coming forward here.
Absolutely exciting. Thank you so much, Jackie. I think it's so exciting when you told us you're busy helping to mentor the Young Science Expo candidates. I can see there's a number of young ladies that will come into the program. And like we said, there's nothing better than another young female mentor the other young students coming into these programs. So I think, thank you, Jackie, for all your support in your community, really making a difference and supporting the young innovators that will come through these programs. So more and more, we will see more female-led innovations coming through the ecosystem. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Bye to all you young ones. We're looking forward to seeing you soon. I think for me, if you look at the panel, there's been a number of exciting innovations that have come through. You can see that where they are, it's quite close to commercialization. If not, if you're looking at Makundi's app, it's already ready for the market, and it really is looking at scalability. I think for me, the local and international partnership ecosystem has really created a number of women-led innovations. I must say that without these programs, the success would be that much more difficult, but we're really able to finally see there is some serious upscaling that will be that will be prominent within South Africa or on the continent and internationally. And the sustainability coming forward from, for example, Pietro with the GSIP 2.0 program, we find that more and more we're able to look at the impact we've made, we're able to realize what's missing in terms of the ecosystem that's been always known to be fragmented. I think we're finally getting there in terms of driving a strong mentorship platform with the South African mentorship movement. And we're really looking to strengthen the ecosystem for our SMMEs with a particular focus on women and youth. So from my side, I think it's just been an amazing journey for the past 7 years with all of you, and how we've been able to grow the ecosystem, just getting better and better from strength to strength. So I really, really have to take the moment to thank all of you, both our local and international partners, and the TIA comrades who have always been there to support one another and to take this journey forward. As you can see, even though we're sitting in a COVID situation, there is still a lot to be done, and we're looking forward to working with all of you, both local and international partners. So just from my side, I'm looking forward to some questions and answers. I'm going to see if there's any questions in the chat box, but like I said, you can also raise your hand if you'd like to ask questions to any of the panelists. Doesn't look like there's any questions. So I'd just like to, I think there's one there. Okay, if I can hand over to Katleko. I see Katleko has a question. So Katleko, if you can just state your name, where you're from, and who is your question for?
Okay. Oh, hi Sanisha, how are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm okay. Okay, I'm Katlego. I'm from Pretoria, and I have two questions. Actually, I typed them in the chat box, so I can see that you haven't seen them yet, but it's fine. I'll ask them. So the first question is towards Sandiswa. She mentioned like her story was very inspiring and great, and I could tell that her innovation is something along the lines of something electrical, but I could not really get what is the innovation, what is it that she did, so if she can kindly clarify that for us, and if she has a website or company name, perhaps maybe she can type it in the chat box so I can go and check it out, and be able to see everything maybe like visually, And the second question is for Melusi. Yes, Mom Lucy. She said quite great things about TIA, and some of the acceleration programs that are offered by TIA. And my question was that, are they not advertised on the TIA website, and are they annually or quarterly, so that I know when to go and check for those acceleration programs, so that one of the good days I can be part of them? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Katlego. I'm going to hand over to Sandiswa first. Sandiswa, over to you to give a little bit more about your innovation and how Katlego could come into contact with you as well. Over to you, Sandiswa.
Thank you, Stanisha, and thanks, Katlego, for your question. As innovators, sometimes we get passionate and we forget things. Sorry. This is the product, the hotspot. It's a geyser sleeve that you retrofit on your geyser element to give you access to that hot water and reduce your electricity consumption and your monthly bill. And what's also innovative about it is the fact that you can use your geyser like a normal electric kettle by boiling the volume of hot water you need whenever you need it, instead of reheating the entire geyser. So this is how it's packaged. The name of the product is Hotspot, and the name of the company is AET Africa.
Thanks, Sandiswa.
Thank you.
Definitely, that's a very good advert for Katlego. Are you good at that?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for the demonstration.
Okay.
It was a bit more easier to understand.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It's so true. Sometimes we've just, the innovation is absolutely amazing. And I think if you look at AET Africa's website, you'll see, and we're going to play your video clip after this as well. I'm going to hand over to Lucy just to give you some more insights on your questions.
Hi, Katlego. So The call-outs on these accelerator programs are normally posted on TIA's website. No, we currently have the GAP call-out that has gone out, which is the Gauteng Accelerator Program, which I said we do in partnership with the Innovation Hub. So that call-out is already open. We have other programs within TIA that Senisha referred to in her introduction, like the Grassroots Innovation Program. I'm not sure when the next call-out is coming out, because I know they're finalizing recruitments on the insurance SETA innovators and also on the tourism innovators. But all these accelerator programs and all the other innovation challenge programs that TIA runs will normally be advertised on the TIA website and also on social media. So if you keep your eyes on the TIA website and on the social media and keep finding out from all the other partners in the NSI, the programs are always on the website. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Katlego. Thanks, Lucy. I think I'm going to hand over to Portia. Portia, how are you? I see you have a question.
Hi, Senisha. I'm fine. Thanks. And yourself?
Good.
Good. Thanks. My name is Portia, and I am from Pretoria as well. My question is directed to Sandiswa. Firstly, I'd like to commend her. And, I've always seen her as a hero. She always has paved my path, to going forward. So thank you very much for being not just a fellow innovator, but also a friend to guide other entrepreneurs. It's very important that women also own IPs and trademarks, and congratulations on that, because I don't know if you know this, only 9% of South African women actually own patents, and Black women own patents is 0.68%. So congratulations to you, Sandisa. My question to you is, you spoke a lot about international partnerships, and it's quite hard to actually get into the international partnerships without holding an IP or without understanding the IP laws or licensing laws. Could you maybe elaborate on the fact, was that difficult for you to enter into other international markets without being afraid that maybe your innovation will be stolen? Or how did you go about trying to protect your idea and actually entering that market and actually gathering the information to join that market in particular?
Thanks, Portia. It's not easy. And as a result, as much as we've got the trademark, we've got the patent. For us, the journey started in 2019, but we got delayed by COVID. We're still in negotiation with the partners in Ghana, because we started now in Africa, in our case, through the support and assistance from the DTIC, the local FDI in Eastern Cape Development Corporation, as well as the Innovation Hub. So you see, because again, it also requires a lot of funding, because it's not just about the cost of the patents and all of that stuff, but to even have agents and go through the trainings that are related in terms of finding your international partners. So it is a journey. It's not easy, but it starts with you doing a research in terms of the country that you intend to penetrate, and also attend these exhibition programs. Because in my case, I've been applying for these export programs, including going for the training. So you have to visit that particular country, get to understand more, similar to what we were exposed to when we went to Switzerland. So it requires a lot of research. You will identify a lot of potential partners, but you have to sift through the list that you get and build that relationship. But don't be hasty in terms of making your decision, because sometimes you feel like you've taken 50 steps forward and 100 steps backwards, because it's an ongoing dialogue and there's a lot that you learn while you are engaging and visiting. So it's very important that you have partners that are willing to support you to go and do these site visits.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
If there isn't any other questions, I know we are running out of time on the panel, but I would like to take this special moment to thank all of our panelists for today. We will update our website, and please follow us on www.tia.org.za, We have in Women's Month launched our Instagram page. So we're hoping that all the women will definitely look sexy on our Instagram page. And please join us on our Instagram page. So it's also tia.org.za. That's very exciting for all of us. You will find the bios of all of our speakers on our Instagram page as well as our website. So thank you very much. Please don't leave the session. We're going to now go into our next session, which is really some of the key exhibitors that we found during our time to exhibit during the session. And I would like to now introduce one of our first exhibits that will be coming on board. It's from Lab Exchange. We recently met Andrew with the TIA team, and we were quite impressed to see what they've put together in terms of what scientists and researchers would really need, and it really impacts the whole education ecosystem. So Andrew represents the partnership team from Lab Exchange. He's based in South Africa, and is really focused on helping educators, students, and researchers for their free resources that are developed from Harvard University. Prior to working with Lab Exchange, Andrew was involved in the finance and management consultant sector for the past 15 years. Today he has with him one of his partners, who is Julian Taylor, and Julian Taylor has also taught over a decade and is really, really excited to take us through their process today. So Andrew, I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks very much, Sanisha, and afternoon to everybody. And thank you all very much for making time, and to Tia and Sanisha for this great opportunity. I'm here today just to share more about a free science education platform called Lab Exchange, and it's developed at Harvard University. And what I'd like to just briefly do is show you an introductory short video clip, which will just outlay the context, and then I'll move on to actually showing you the website. And please, if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box or just interrupt us. Myself and my colleague Julian are more than happy to make this more interactive if that's possible today. So thanks very much. And here, let me just share my screen.
So Andrew, I think we're just having a bit of a problem with the sound.
Sorry, you're having trouble hearing that?
Yes, I don't know if everybody else is here.
Apologies, is anybody else having problems? So sorry, I tested this earlier and we thought we could hear it.
I think, let me just see the chat group.
No, the sound's it's like in a bottled sound.
Like
yeah.
Okay, apologies. Well, let me rather put then the link in for everybody to have a look in their own time, if that's easier for everyone. And let me, instead of showing you this, show you the actual website.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thanks very much for letting me know, guys. So Lab Exchange, as I mentioned, is a completely free science education platform. It was developed at Harvard University, and it's been developed by or through a lot of support from our funder, the Amgen Foundation. And so we provide content to, we have a great digital library. We provide this content completely free to users. We have collaborators from all over the world, including the likes of Khan Academy, PhET simulations, which I'm sure some teachers will be aware of and are familiar with. We have a wonderful array of different subjects, all in the STEM fields, which we're expanding as we grow and as we get more resources. As a platform, we've only been live since January 22nd last year. So fortunately or unfortunately, just before COVID hit and became a real global pandemic. And so we have available all this content for students and educators. And when I say students, we target students from the ages of 13 years and up to the undergraduate level at university. So we try to form part of their holistic learning journey by being able to provide content, and not just in-class content, but content that supports them during different phases of their learning journey. So as you can see here on the left-hand side, we're in the public library, and we have just over 11,500 pieces of content. We have the range of different subjects. As you can see, quite a strong focus on the biological sciences. With the drop-down arrow, you can see there's just a bit more granularity to the types of subjects you can search for. And then we also have content that, as I said, relates to the broader STEM areas, so health science, physics, chemistry, global health. We also have the scientific process, which has been well received during this time, which speaks to how to do experiments, correct data analysis, lab safety and etiquette, for example. And then we also have content that supports both educators and students. In the form for educators, we have professional development content, and also online learning, so assisting them in transitioning to the online learning medium. We also have content that supports students from, whether they're leaving university and moving into a career, or whether they are thinking of leaving high school and going to study further. We have content that helps support those decision-making processes. In terms of some of the different types of content that you can find available on the platform, I'm sure you're all very familiar with text or video or images. We also have a lot of interactive content, which requires engagement from the user. We have what we call pathways, which are essentially sequential learning processes. So essentially, you could take lots of different pieces of content and build a pathway around a certain theme. Equally, there is content already made that an educator could just copy and paste and utilize for their class, in tomorrow or in 5 minutes' time. So that's where we allow the ease of use, but also the personalization of the content, much to the point where I could take a pathway and personalize it to my curriculum by changing the content of that pathway. We also have questions or groups of questions and question sets. We have simulated laboratory experiments, making access to a lab much easier for people who might not have access to equipment. Labs are very expensive. And then we have this great content type called narrative content, which I'll just briefly show you. And essentially it's stories from real scientists about what it is that got them into science, what areas of science they study, what challenges they faced and how they overcame them. So this is a great way to encourage STEM, an interest in future STEM careers, especially in younger children, and especially with groups who are not well represented, like minority groups or young women. And that's a definite huge focus for Lab Exchange at this point in our growth stage, is the encouraging of more girls, more younger age groups onto the platform in order to encourage hopefully a career in the sciences. We also have audio content, and then some teaching guides or lesson plans, if you will, for educators. We have case studies and a cluster, which is an idea of saying, if I took individual pieces of content and stitched them together into a pathway, I can stitch a pathway into a cluster. So a greater volume of content around a particular subject. We also, you can see we can do things around background knowledge. So you can find content that's applicable for certain age groups or video duration for particular age groups. And we have a host of different content sources which you can search through. A lot of them are international, a lot of them are scientific organizations, ranging from that all the way through to YouTubers who've made their content. Again, all of these partners have made it freely available for anybody to use in the world. And then we're also very fortunate to be able to have translated some of our content. I'll show you this piece of content. It's one cluster around biotechnology. And we've translated it into 12 languages outside of English. And we're currently in the process of translating it into Zulu for the South African market. So we're really trying to assist the local market because we have a strong connection to South Africa. Even though the project is based out of Harvard University, we have a strong team in South Africa that works on creating a lot of this wonderful content. And so this is just a way that we want to make it accessible to as many people as possible. I'll briefly just show you, I know we have a limited time, so I'm going to drop into the chat box a link to a piece of content you can actually utilize, which will allow you to go through a lot of what I've said today. So it'll show you how to do a lot of this, but essentially this is a piece of content that is an interactive. This is one we've developed, and it allows the learner to control that learning experience. So I'm just scrolling down on the rollable on my mouse, and in comes an image, some text on the left, And really the joy of this is that I can work through this at my own pace as a learner. And if I've missed something, I can always go backwards in the process to see what I might have missed, and really put that control of the learning experience in my hands as opposed to being a passenger in my own learning journey. Another type that has been really popular are simulated lab experiments. I won't go through all of the steps, but let me just give you a look and feel of it. Essentially, this is a lab background, lab bench. You've got a notebook here on the right, which introduces what you're going to be doing in this particular experiment. It gives you the materials you're able to be using, and you can click on each one and get a bit of an explanation. So if you haven't used this equipment or come across it before, maybe there's some anxiety, you can reduce that just by having a quick read about what these different pieces of equipment are. And then we're able to get into the predictions. So what are we actually going to be doing? In this case, we're putting red dye on blotting paper. And then we can play around with the actual experiment. You can grab the different pieces of equipment, place tips on them, and it has got a nice sort of animated look and feel to reduce some of the anxiety that maybe more realistic look and feel might do. But all the hints and tips that we give the students through these protocols are exactly the correct protocols they would need to have in order to walk into a lab tomorrow and confidently be able to work through a laboratory procedure. So these are really well designed. They offer great step-by-step instructions. And at the end, you're able to see your results. So what you actually do is the actual results you get. And you're able to, through a sort of reflection questions, you're able to understand where your gaps in your learning might be. And so this gives the student the opportunity to say, well, I see I missed something, let me go back and do it. And because it's online, there is a limited or no risk to equipment and reagents being used up. And so it's a low risk environment for students to learn. And finally, we summarize the key learning takeaways and let students understand a bit more about what they should have taken away from that particular experiment. Let me just briefly show you now, these were individual pieces of content. If I was to pull those together in a format, here we have what we call a pathway that I mentioned. So this one we developed on coronavirus last year. And essentially it's different pieces of content. You'll see these are all text, but it could be videos or simulations or interactives or question sets or questions. And essentially a teacher can take this and because I have an account, which is again free, you can create an account. It's completely free if you go into Lab Exchange and you, in the top right, there's normally a yellow sign up button, but I'm logged in, so there's an A. And if I'm teaching virology tomorrow, I can copy and paste this, or what we call cloning, and put this in my private library area, or dashboard as we call it. And I can change the order of this to personalize it to the CAPS curriculum, because maybe I've got content that isn't on the public library, but I can put it in Lab Exchange in my private area. And I can change this to suit my students' needs or my own needs as an educator. And that's where we bring that tailorable or personalizable approach to the education experience. I also just want to very quickly show you the idea that we mentioned earlier, or I mentioned earlier, of a cluster. So this is a piece of content that we have that introduces students to the idea of just basic biological concepts. So each of these hexagons represents a pathway, just like that coronavirus one I just showed you. So if we look at ecology, that will open up a pathway that will show us it's a curated piece of content by Lab Exchange that will help someone to work through and explore the importance of biodiversity and human impact on the environment. So here you can see there's a piece of text by one of our collaborators, a video by Khan Academy, a piece of text by another collaborator, OpenStax, some content from Harvard, and a student can work through this and take away from it these key learning objectives at the bottom that have been developed, allowing them to have a better understanding of the core concept. And so all this, as I say, is freely available. We've got quite a few different types of content, as I mentioned. We've got introduction to biology. We've got one for core concepts in biology. We also have an introduction to chemistry for any chemistry teachers out there or students as well. We have the same for physics. And for this one is about experimentation, so designing and planning experiments. And then we also have this is a cluster. I'll drop or if I can ask Julian, if you could drop the remote learning cluster, or let me do it now actually, into the chat box. This is essentially showing you how to do a lot of what I've very briefly and very quickly summarized today. So how to get started with Lab Exchange, how to add your own content, how to explore the content on the library or create your own class. So as I mentioned, I am logged in. I have an account. Those are all free. And the reason we have accounts is to essentially ask people if they want to open themselves up to become a mentor, to offer mentorship to other young people on the platform, or to find a mentor. So with my account, I have this private area called my dashboard, which is under this button. And this is where that content that I said earlier, I cloned or copied. This is where it sits. So I don't impact the public library. I can never impact that. But as an individual user, I can take content from the public library and utilize it here or adapt it to my needs. Equally, I can bring content that's not on the platform here. So, but the click of a button, I can add content, whether it's a video from YouTube, I can create a pathway, I can add a document or questions. That's all flexible and open to you to add. And again, this stays private. Nobody else can see it unless you share it with them. Equally, you have access to content you might have favorited on the platform that you want access to. As an educator, you can share any content you create through a classroom function. So it's very similar to a learning management system. We create this platform where you can take content, put it in an order, share it with your students, and then monitor their progress through that. And ensure that the correct people enter the class by being the gatekeeper for that class. So every class has a unique code, and you share that with your students. You can see here there's content, there's the students that I've got in this class, there's the content I've posted. I can post other content later. I can add content at any time, and I can check my students' progress. I can message them, assign content if they are stronger or weaker. And equally, I can also go and check the overall class progress. Whether it's scores for tests they've done at a class level or their overall progress, I can see that here, and use this information for your learning management system. So we've made it downloadable into a CSV file format. So you can see here the different students, the pieces of content, how far they've completed, etc., or whether they've completed the date. So that offers a lot of insight for you as an educator. We also have within the class a discussion forum, which is closed. But then we also have this community button, which is a public discussion forum for anybody who wants to, without an account, just hop in and have a conversation with people, whether they are scientists or educators, bringing those groups together to help solve some of the questions that are posed by students, or just broader topics or challenges that are facing the community of the world today, whether that's climate change related or pandemic related, as we find ourselves in. And from this point or this view, I can also find mentors or people I'm mentoring or someone who's mentoring me. So here you can see I have a mentor, Julian. He's kindly assigned me some content. So I need to get started working on it. And I can message him saying, for example, Julian, you're a teacher. How would I get into teaching science? What's your experience? And so a person can search for a mentor on the platform if they want, and up will come all the people who are older than 18 that have made themselves publicly available to be mentored, be mentors, sorry. I just want to say thank you very much to TIA again for this opportunity, and to Sanisha. We are a completely free platform, and if anybody has any questions or wants to get in contact with us, Julian and I are based in South Africa with a bunch of other of our colleagues. We're more than happy to facilitate webinars around the platform and train educators or share it with students. We are really here just to make sure that everybody is aware that there's this free resource available to them. Thank you very much, Sanisha, and thanks for everybody for your time.
Thank you so much for that, Andrew. I think we're really looking forward to taking the discussion forward, especially working with all of the different community colleges, higher education institutes, and I think it will be huge impact in terms of delivery, online delivery, provided we actually able to address our connectivity issues. So I think, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Are there any questions for Andrew? I see Nozipo's got a hand up. No. Okay, let's just see. If there's no questions for Andrew, I think, Andrew, thank you so much to both you and Julian. We're definitely looking forward to working with you going forward.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thanks, Julian. I think next we really would like to, Julian, would you like to add anything? No? Okay, thank you. Next, we really would like to showcase our next exhibitor. Lucy mentioned her earlier. It's Dr. Pietro, who came up with an innovation around with regards to maths. I'm going to play the video. Please let me know if you can hear it. I'm going to just share my screen.
University. My research area is neuropsychology and the neurodevelopmental disorders of children. And my main focus is what are predictors of maths achievement. And what we have found in research is that it's a neuropsychological process. That means children learn, and we need to incorporate the brain and how they learn maths, the cognitive, the affective, and the social aspects as well. And how we do it is with play. The Maths Wartels and the Let's Play Maths Centers that we have used the Maths Wartels. Maths Wartels was developed at the Northwest University, and it focuses on using principles in play therapy like puppets, our storybooks, real apparatus, and then a board game that we have as well. The next step will also be to develop it into technology as well, where there will be a 2D and a 3D animation of the story and a Maths Wartels app as well. The content of the board game is linked to the CAPS curriculum and the GAME curriculum and the Cambridge curriculum. So any person will know exactly where the child is in terms of any concept that is covered in the curriculum as well. And our next step is also to translate it in more than one language, so any person can use it. Children can start as young as 2 years old, because that's when a child already can see the brain, the cortex can see colors and depth and things. So you already start with the maths language that you want to do. The main aim is to connect the visual spatial part in the brain, the language part in the brain, and the number part in the brain. So to make that correlation and create those pathways from a very young age. And what we do in the Maths Wartels program and at the Let's Really Play Maths Centers, we play maths, meaning we are literally engaged with the maths. Incorporating all the senses. So if we have a 3-year-old that you can see has got a gift for mathematics and is already advanced, you can accelerate that learner. But if we have a learner in grade 3, for example, and they really struggle to master certain concepts, we can take them back. And because they engage in the thing, it improves their concentration, their motivation, and their interaction. So they engage with the material, they have positive learning experiences, and their brain history of learning maths is positive, not just the visual motor where the eye and the thumb is doing the concepts. And the children feel, so we work with visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and touch. For example, we've got felt, different textures they need to touch when they work with that. We focus very much on the perceptual development of the very young child, and then we carry on to more abstract learning when the child goes on. The whole idea is like any person, even in a Setakwele village or a village in the Congo, or wherever they are, must be able, you need to empower that community to be able to use this. So with the training that we do is we can empower anybody in a village how to play with the child. They might not understand the science behind it, but they will be able to play, and they can't do any harm because it's literally play that they do, but they play with a purpose, and they play to develop the brain. And that's one of our visions, is how do we empower the previously disadvantaged communities. The reason for that is children are born problem solvers. Okay, so there's a lot of children in an area where they might not have the facilities, but that is the next innovator of something big that needs to help the world. We can use it in a community center. The second one, a therapist can use it, educational psychologist, clinical psychologist, or occupational therapist, because there's a therapeutic set as well, that if a child has been assessed and you do find delays with regards to their visual motor or their perceptual development, or once they've done the intelligence profile, there's specific activities that can be used in a therapeutic setting. Any therapist will be able to use the puppets immediately because they will understand the value of the glue therapy, puppet therapy, and board therapy, as we call it. Then also a parent can use it because we train the parent, and there's a detailed manual and training facilities, training available all the time that they can use. And then also teachers can use it because you can use it immediately in a classroom environment, you can use it in a remedial center, and you can use it in homeschooling. So you really want to make the world of maths accessible to everybody out there. What is also very important is that we keep continuously improving people's knowledge and the science behind all of this. And as we do more research, that you empower people, whoever is going to use this in their centers, in their home, in their schools, on the research behind this. So there's a course registered for CPD points with the Health Professions Council, and there's a course registered for teachers at the South African Council of Education. We also have individualized training programs, whether it's for a community center or whether it's just for homeschooling setup, or just parents who wants to learn more about where to start and how to do that as well. Every center will have their own contact details where you can contact them, and all the centers that's going to be part of our little family of Let's Play Math centers will have their direct access to my website, and that's www.thefutureerasmus.co.za, and then Mind Music are the people that will distribute the content of the apparatus that we use, the Whitehorse programs that we use as well. And this is a wonderful center because this is a center that is certainly situated in the farm area as well.
Thank you so much for that.
For making yourself available to Gordon's Bay Tourism.
So, thank you. I think that was really a well thought through presentation by Dr. Pietro from Wattles. We're also in partnership with her, and she's currently rolling out her innovation as well. So I think just thank you to her. I know she wasn't able to join us today, but next I would really like to hand over to Portia, who has been one of our U Technology Innovation Program recipients. She has also been with us through the Global Cleantech Innovation Program, as well as the Swiss Venture Leader Program. So I would like for Portia just to take a minute to share with us her journey in the innovation space, being a young female-led innovator. Portia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sanisha. First, I'd like to say, it's always a privilege to be a part of a platform like this, especially with Technology Innovation Agency, that has played a big role in every step I've taken in my innovation life for the past 11 years. You guys can hear me, right?
You fine, Porsche?
Okay, perfect. Who's in the past 11 years has been the biggest support, and as well as being amongst like-minded entrepreneurs and innovators, it just makes us as women, not just women, but as human beings in this lonely world that we think that we are in, feel not so lonely. So my name is Portia Rifua Mawungu, and I was part of the YTEP recipients in 2015 with Technology Innovation Agency, where they funded me my first round of funding to be able to get my IP in place and get my PCT in place. Also help me understand what an innovator is, because how my story started was in 2011, I had a major accident and I fell off a 3-story building and I broke my pelvis. And I went through a year long of being in hospital, in and out, having my mother and granny lift me off the wheelchair and put me onto the toilet pot. But that's when it sparked into me, if I'm going through this situation for a short period of time, what about those who's going to be in the situation for the longer period of time? And that's how when I came up with the innovation called the Paratube. So the Paratube is a retrofitted seat. It fits onto any standard existing wheelchair. It works together with disposable biodegradable bags, and it converts into a toilet while the patient is seated on the wheelchair. So it brings back independence and dignity to the patient. And it allows the patient not just get restraining off the patient as well, but as well as a third party that helps them and assists them. So we took a lot into consideration with the assistance of Technology Innovation Agency, and they've helped us in the process all along. And we've proudly have to say that we just received our South African patent approved 2 weeks ago. And as well as a month ago, we just received our trademarks. We on the finalization of receiving our USA patents as well. So we're going global as well. We've just got approved with our new manufacturing, a medical manufacturing company that's willing to pro bono take on our innovation and give us all the medical aspects. And as well as we're waiting on our SAPRA standards as a medical device standard, so that we'll be able to commercialize by the end of this year, beginning end of next year, hopefully by Our aim is end of this year. So it's been a huge adventure being on the Swiss program and being a part of GCIP, because what we've learned is, as well as pitching, for instance, when you pitch to investors, when you pitch to potential clients that's going to come in, every single investor has something to look to. Every single investor has something in particular they're looking for in your business. So we're sitting currently with over 128 just presentations based on what we learned from GCIP and the Swiss Adventure Program, understanding that we first look at what the investor wants from our company. In order to win them over, that's how we pitch our idea. We've learned business processing, because we never knew we'd be one of the companies in South Africa that we also, as Sandiswa has went through, like I said, we are so similar, because she has been my helping hand going forward. And IDC has approached us as well. So we're one of the recipients of IDC, having the accreditation that we got from TIA, and as well as one of the GAP medical winners in 2017. Over and above, we've just received assistance from research a month ago from Yale University. And that just goes to show that it does not matter where you are or what you do in your business and innovation, as long as it has some sort of social impact and you're helping towards your country's GDP, as well as towards making a difference as women in this country, anything is possible. And there's no such thing as a stupid idea. Every idea is possible if you put your passion into it. I was in between, just the last thing, I was in between Facebook comments and being on the call. And one of the entrepreneurs, Tabiso, asked, what happens when fear gets into you and not knowing if you want to go forward? And I realized that fear is your best friend, but don't make it your ultimate friend. Don't fear to move forward. There are companies like Technology Innovation Agency. There are companies like the IDC and the Innovation Hub, and they all work in a systematic way, because we do have a working ecosystem in South Africa. And TIA is the place to start. So you can start learning what business is about, how to take your idea from just an ideation to an actual working product, and moving over to the Innovation Hub, and then getting the IDC involved. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, Sinisha. I really appreciate it. And I'm proud of every single person on this call. I mean, together we can make a difference, and we always will be able to work together and assist each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Portia. I think Jackie said it very well. It's always amazing to hear your story. And as you've journeyed through this, I'm so proud to say that your patent is finally registered. So look out, your innovation really will disrupt the disability sector. So you can see we're not only making impact with women and youth, but also one of the key critical sectors in the economy that needs to be assisted is the disability sector. So your innovation really stands out, not only in South Africa, but also on the continent and globally. So thank you, Portia. And now we'll play your video clip.
You wouldn't know unless you had been there, unless you are there. Privacy becomes an issue. People stare. Those private moments, those comfort breaks are no longer comfortable. Privacy no longer exists. I've been there, and the worst parts are those private moments I took for granted. Those private moments we all take for granted. One day, while going through daily difficulty, I had a thought. This thought turned into an innovation. An innovation that will affect the lives of thousands of people, if not millions of people that are bound to a wheelchair.
The Paratube, a wheelchair device that helps people maintain dignity when they need it most.
In 2011, I had a major accident, which resulted in me being wheelchair bound. I lost my independence, and I lost my dignity, as now I needed assistance from mother and granny to lift me off the wheelchair and put me onto the toilet box. During this period, I thought to myself, if I'm going to be in this situation for a short period of time, what about those that's going to be in this situation for the rest of their lives? And that's when I came up with the innovation called the Paratube. The Paratube is a retrofitted seat that fits into any existing wheelchair, working together with disposable biodegradable bags, allowing the client to be more independent and retain their dignity during those private moments.
Designed and developed by Portia Mavangu and Durishna Chele association with the Department of Science and Technology, the Technology Innovation Agency, the Innovation Hub, the Global Clean Tech Innovation Program, and the IDC. PRD Logical Solutions, a black women-owned entity, is the design and manufacturing company that is poised to deliver a positive experience to all wheelchair-bound people in South Africa, throughout Africa, and across the globe. Now we need you to help bring back dignity to as many South Africans as possible. The IDC has funded the development phase of the Paratube seat, and your letter of intent will help unlock extra funding from the IDC to see the development come to full fruition.
Imagine how many nursing staff, caretakers, and family members will be affected positively by the seat. Less back strain and injury. No more necessary pushing of the wheelchair to find a paraplegic toilet. In fact, comfort breakfast can be taken in any private room. This means that any office buildings are able to be compliant with the needs of disabled staff without having to rebuild the toilet facilities.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has endorsed Porsche and the Paratube.
And Porsche Mabungu, who invented a mechanism to assist people with disability to use the toilet with dignity.
I was so surprised and honored when President Ramaphosa mentioned me and my innovation.
Together, we bring back dignity for those private moments.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you so much for that, Portia. I think, as you can see, it's taken a lot of partners in the ecosystem to get Portia to where she is today. So we're very proud to say that Portia started off as a Youth Technology Innovation Program candidate, and we finally seen her getting herself to commercialization. So well done, Portia, to you and your team.
Thank you so much, Sunisa.
Pleasure, Portia. Are there any questions for Portia while we still have on the line? Okay, so the next video that I'd like to showcase today is from Ayat Africa, from Sandiswa. We do have Sandiswa on the line as well. Sandiswa, would you like to say something before I play the video?
Anisha, no, I think let me just go ahead and play the video, and then we'll take if there's more questions afterwards. Okay, but the video that I want to share is the one that we did with that shows both the hotspot and the textile factory.
Okay, will you be able? Are you playing it from your side?
You can play from your side.
Okay, thanks, Anissa.
Africa are innovators and manufacturers of energy-efficient products. AET Africa, bringing you locally patented products such as the hotspot, which is a product that can be retrofitted to any conventional geyser and can save you up to 27% of electricity consumption. The reusable non-woven bags are made from washable materials in various colors for our individual customers and can be branded according to customer requirements. AET Africa,
Sandiswa?
Finish.
Thank you. Was that it?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, nice one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandiswa. And now I'm going to hand over to Kumo, who's online from our IT department, that's going to play the exhibitions from our technology station program from the TSB unit. Kumo, I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay, just a minute for me, Shanisha.
Thanks, Kumo.
Shanisha, you still didn't give me permission to the TSP videos, so I can only play the one for Lab Exchange.
Okay, play the Lab Exchange one, because we couldn't hear it on our side. You can play it in the meantime.
Okay.
Resources, scientific communities, and team-based approaches to solving real-world problems. Lab Exchange has been designed to overcome these difficulties and make science more accessible to learners, educators, and researchers around the world. How does Lab Exchange do this? On the platform, you'll find world-class content, resources, which have assessments and awards. Exciting careers in science and tackle the world's challenges together. Science and learning connected.
Okay, over to you again, Shanisha.
Thank you so much, Kumo. I see that, okay, so we are unable to open up the other videos. So after all of the exhibitions that were played, I'd like to know if there's any questions from all of the panel, even the panelists or the guests that are on the session for today. So you can either type your question in the chat box or you can even raise your hand with the reaction button. I'm going to ask my colleague Tebogo, who's from our stakeholder management unit in stakeholder relations, if he has any questions or any comments on the session today. doesn't look like there's any other questions with regards to the exhibitions. I'm just going to hand over to my panelists just to maybe give some closing comments for the session for today. So Pietro, if I could ask you to please come online. Any closing remarks or any comments for today's session? Over to you.
Thank you, Sanisha. Thanks very much. It was really a humbling experience to be part of this. I hope we're going to be able to have a look at some of these innovations again, or all of them again afterwards. Will you be sharing a link? And it remains a privilege for UNIDO to be part of the journey of our innovators and to be partnering with TIA. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pietro. I think that's very important. We do have a library with all of the various innovations that were pitched today and that will be pitched in the future. And we're really trying to build on that video library that we currently have. And I think it was actually, we started the whole library with GSIP as well. So we're looking forward to sharing the links with everybody as well. Thank you so much, Pietro. I'd like to hand over to Sandiswa, if there's any final comments from your side.
Thank you, Sanisha. Thanks to all the panelists and the audience. It was a very humbling process for us as well to be part of this, to reflect on our journey. And we really appreciate the support and help that we've received from our stakeholders. And we really believe that the support that you've given to us, you will improve and continue to provide the support to other innovators that are coming through into the ecosystem. And yes, let's do this as women. Let's support each other. Let's be here and share these lessons and create a platform for continuous networking and engagement, because really through these sessions, that's when you also get motivated in terms of whatever challenging you are facing, you feel like anything is possible. So thank you very much for this session. Looking forward to more sessions going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandiswa. And you're so right. I mean, I can't echo your sentiments with every female needs to help another female. And for me, that has been always our guiding principles within TIA and one of our key values. How can we really support and mentor and assist one another going forward? I'm going to now hand over to Dr. Joanne for any final comments or final lessons for the panelists and the people on the call. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanisha. Just to echo that, have faith in your own ability and just take the first step and keep these opportunities for innovation, investing in young innovators coming through, because clearly these opportunities are having an impact. From the biggest lesson I've learned this year, since I haven't always had a very translational mindset, is like the value of introducing the idea of entrepreneurship and innovation earlier in people's academic journeys. So, as they're going through undergraduate studies, not that you need to be at a university to be an innovator, but just to have these conversations and open these opportunities up at an earlier stage to motivate young women entrepreneurs, I think would go a very long way. So just thank you for the opportunity and keep doing what TIA's doing. And just believe in yourself more generally.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Joanne. And I think I must say that the one thing that we found is it's the lack of entrepreneurship at a very young age. So working with the various partners, we really are looking at introducing it much more into schools. And I think we've really started that journey on one of our qualifications, which is actually a qualification linked to the waste management sector. It will be the first qualification that actually embeds sustainable literacy, which is entrepreneurship, into the qualification. So we're really looking forward to that. And you're so spot on. It really is from a much earlier stage. How do you embed it into the qualifications and teach young people what entrepreneurship is about? So thank you for that. Mukundi, I'm going to hand over to you. Any last comments?
Thank you. I think once again, just absolutely grateful to be in this room with these entrepreneurs, being able to see other entrepreneurs' journey, being able to see some of the amazing innovations that people are working on, I think has been very motivational and encouraging for us on our journey. So I think it's good also to have spaces like this where we're able to see, to experience that journey wherever it's at. So yeah, I really appreciate that we had this space and that we're able to see what people are doing.
Thank you so much for that, Mukundi. And really, we're very excited to take your app forward as well. I think it's one of those apps that will really create an amazing difference within the schooling environment across the continent as well. So looking forward to working with you going forward. I'm going to hand over to my fellow colleague, Lucy. For any last comments, Luce?
Okay, thank you, Sanisha, and thank you for the opportunity. I think my last comment will be, let us not stop the self-talk, the positive self-talk, and let us continue to reinforce the thinking, and not just the thinking, like I said, let us reinforce the actions. I think very important also to realize is, there's a saying that says, women are the base on which the world stands. So let us continue, like all the panelists have emphasized, let us continue to inspire, let us continue to share our insights with all the other younger women and innovators, and let us continue to motivate them to continue creating and continue acting and making the things that they're thinking and the ideas and the innovations happen. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanisha.
Thank you, Lucy. And it's true what they say, women do make the world go round. And I can't thank you more. And I think from this session, Pietro and myself and Lucy and the colleagues, we're really going to look at setting up that advisory committee, getting all of you on board to form this mentorship platform for us so that we can grow the innovation ecosystem. So without anything else, I'd like to really thank you for being part of this most inspiring talk today from us. And we're looking forward to more opportunities on the same front to taking this forward. And like I said, nothing can be done without our local and our international partners, and mostly the innovators and young people in the room, in terms of let's get your innovations up and going, let's get it commercialized, and let's really look at the scale-up opportunities that will really impact not only South Africa, but the continent and globally. So I'd like to just say to all the panelists today, if you can switch on your camera so everybody can see you for the last time, and we're looking forward to sharing your information with the rest of the colleagues. So there's all our panelists. Thank you so much for today. And we're looking forward to, like I said, sharing all of the information on our TIA website. Please don't forget, we are now on Instagram, and you'll be seeing all of our female innovators sharing their profiles. It's all up and running already. And a special thanks to our marketing and IT department and facilities for coming on board to support TIA during all of these webinar sessions, especially for today. And we really thank the National Science Week team, which is the HSRC, SASTA, the Department of Science and Innovation, as well as the Univent team and UNISA team. So from me, I'd like to say you can enjoy the rest of your afternoon and stay tuned for any other sessions on our Instagram page or our website. Bye for now. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Portia.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all for listening and staying on board. Jackie, how are you doing with the young ones?
They're doing expo, so their projects or innovation projects are due tomorrow. So they are also brainstorming a lot of social innovation out there. So well done. Nice. It was nice listening to all the ones that's already there.
And Jackie, you know, it's so important because we can look at which of the mentors from these teams can mentor your innovators that are working on similar like innovations or projects.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much, Anisha. We will definitely catch up again.
Excellent. Does any one of them want to say what the innovation is about?
Do you guys want to talk quickly? Nompumezo, quickly come around, please. Nompumezo, she's doing an engineering project. Her innovation is on, do you want to talk? Maybe first explain what the problem was. Maybe first explain what was the problem with candles.
I said that there are many people who die from fire, which is caused by the candle, because the candle holders we have are not safe. When you maybe step on it and it knocks over, then it burns the house. So I tried to build a candle holder that is much safer for people.
Oh, brilliant. That is such a good one. And you're so right. So have you started working on how it will look? Did you draw it already? The design?
Yeah, and I also tried to build it. It isn't that much, how can I put it? It isn't strong for now, but it can present how it could be in the future.
Very good. Well done.
On her initial model, pilot project, and then we always try to improve the models. We've got also some of our individuals that's doing on gender-based violence and the factors that they are shying away a little bit, and how it's impacting community, especially now with COVID, and also what is it being reported and how do we actually recognize it. And then also we've got optimal greenhouse facilities, and then we've got also what we have gamification, and then we've got Indy Pilish who's doing how do we keep our environment clear with that's more of a social science projects that she's doing, yeah. But they are doing awesome, yes.
That's good. So just listening to you, I mean, we have obviously Tabiso who's come up with the GBV, gender-based violence innovation, which will nicely tie into one of your young innovators there. And then obviously on the GSIP side, definitely. So it would be nice to find the link for them to even look at what the higher innovation ends are doing on the same topic. Very, very interesting.
No, definitely. I've already introduced them to that. They're a group of 10, but we have also sessions where we have either a provincial meetings also. So I've shared what Tia's doing so that they can also know that you can take your idea and commercialize it, because money always talk a bit stronger. So also that they know, I can have this great idea and you can help your community, but you can also create a business with it. And that's important that we teach them actually a little bit younger and expose them to different things. And it's difficult sometimes. That's why also with the app that they've got there now with the Lab Exchange, sometimes you've got chemicals either that you don't have, and I can't wait for the zero rating version of it. Because even data is a huge impact, because not everybody's got access to data or some of your technology. But we are doing the best with what we have. So it's always awesome that they are sticking through thick and thin, even through COVID. It was difficult. But I'm very proud of these few ladies that pitched up even today, because some of them are still writing exams, so in between exams. I still want to get the innovations ready and uploaded for end of today.
So it must be uploaded by today.
I've got another National Scientific Project tomorrow. We're doing a fossil park. So I'm not available for them tomorrow. So it has to be uploaded today. The due dates are for today. On Monday and Tuesday, we had Indigenous Knowledge Systems with sandbox. And then yesterday, we were supposed to do aquaponics, but there was some community unrest, so we had to cancel that, unfortunately. But we will continue with just exploring and also exposing learners, especially learners from our marginalized communities. Exposure, you won't believe. If you just expose them to something, that's enough for them to let their creative juices flow out there. But I'm very proud of them.
No, I can imagine. That sounds really good. Thank you, Jackie. That's really amazing. Okay. You're really doing a good job. Just keep it up.
Okay, thanks so much.
Looking forward to seeing
Thanks
you
so
guys.
much.
Okay, bye. Moses, thank you so much for today's session.
Rema Hamata. Rema Hamat.
Recording stopped.
Yeah, people change. If I can like HSRC in any information
It should be. I gotta get back up.
So how much other Mamo institution is a line thing again? Oh,
Information is maybe unless maybe I Christian laptop or as a request or please keep information.
So you go back on compare check information
Yeah, Billie Jean.
Because Billie Jean the document so I don't know if get a miracle.
Yeah.
Lord, so just regular. I get information. I end up here around. But one blend of the Billie wins.
Marhanlena Jagari Logita Ichisars Naperas.
Ah, no, it's a lot of Johnny's and I have not for you. Next, I get to see now.
Oh, rapid nag so last
more, but when HSRC it's a black, you are
yeah.
As long as it all. And then you mark again, run to go sister Hermina, get them feeling.
I'm 2 minutes.
I can go sister Hermina, got him, get okay, the one I go to so anything to run no. Next Johnny is going like a finder okay, but Johnny. So Johnny said I want to be for the administrators that you need, like administrator. Come on.
Mamel.
Hey, what's your Mamel lot of Ate. So
just for a good time, but so.
So Nakamo was like a higher. It's a piece of high, it's like I did a stand and next so truly next kiss. Or else I get to move see how get the state. You go back also. Oh, what are you? Not in a division get off.
Yes, what I'm parts.
So,
no, the biological go not the so you know, get on with brought in a movie to sort of format.
It's bad. Now, today, I just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, we could take a pizza left over. Tuesday, Wednesday, was until like a teach. So,
we're so fortunate.
Today, as I got you're not going to tell about the week as cat like a so we get kids are managing to the mano.
Oh, yeah.
So, the kid come and
I spend the
now I was making work like a fan of trying to take some.
Yeah, but Udanu, Jamanaga lunch.
Plus, we love live today, if next I stand like I need. And I thought like I on and don't like to spend the next.
Yeah.
So, but I know,
oh, the petal. Yeah.
As much as I can. Marlene, I come to
Renom touche. La touche an outwoods. When sorry, Boltonano. Ergo Grele, Motaga, I got to share information in Yaga, show no queer retriever.
Munisia, that's it.
Yeah, Munisia got some mathematical technician debats.
I was someone who's a battle. I don't remember about the definition.
No, I got a little when you got permission again, go on, come on, miss.
How about them? Or how do you think? Go back in your corner by Kenyan to Bossa. What else at a time?
What to one name?
When I can't go, son.
I want to get.
So, all kind of was going to be.
Yeah, I'd like to check out what I'm Rooster.
So it's going to be like
Yeah, maybe Lena got some.
O tla mo botsa ke.
O ya gore ke mmotse.
Eh.
Nna ke re special for you, no?
Eh, o go ke botsa batho ba tsamaya.
Eh?
Let me ask.
Okay. Sure. Later.
Hape nna ke gone go ya ntsheng go ya
Hape go tshwanetse le mo tsena mo. Le ke busy ke le mo. So re tsoša mahlo ke re go wena wa. Really? I know. Can't do much.
Can't do much.
What is it?
I can follow log into training.
VPN.
VPN ya ga dile mathata bombo awe so ke intranet ke ya intranet indirela ma training jam disrespect yeah mara ke ne ka botsa VPN usually level VPN na mathata mara re ke fihla mo like mo ka mo
yeah
but so re bele ka be
ga cable ya ga
ka o start ya
ga ke
ma how lo going to hona cable mos
okay ma
so so go ba botsa sibongile
oh yeah Morning, no,
you too. Send the email.
Oh, yeah.
You send the help desk.
IT help desk.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Bye bye. Osha, can I know only Bobo or another ice?
That's right. Oh, we are going to Bobo.
I will try ice.
I can go on workshop.
I can the workshop before COVID.
Okay. I'll caps lock. I'm passing you from the other offenses. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where fell legend no whether it is?
No, more Kihalisa.
Oh, certainly more. Mara, where is your password to log in? And then password to salute change. Kilovaga. Napunga Galanya will change your password.
Okay.
le sa change wena o tlo no type net yona e berekisang hapa ke o bonya go change okay Ushonya go change hapa re August
Okay.
not so August ke tella isha
Okay, I'm not sure. I can think about January.
wa ke re ka ba no ta type ya gago e o berekisang no
No, August looking.
isha
Yeah.
okay I know the change na good ke clean then the next yeah loga in my sister Hey, what do you mean? Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. Sono cuenta no hay ver que manera que Mariona y Gabriela Suárez que lo bargain paso de taro ya sokuri
Yeah, so good job. Okay.
Yo, Susha.